Winter, spring, summer, fall, seasons change, we still keep it together.
Hey, Beverly Hills 90210 fans! Are you ready to dive deep, episode by episode, storyline by storyline, character by character, as we break down the making of your favorite zip code? With your hosts, Charles Rosen.
Did I say that?
Mary
This
Mullen.
heinous thing about the real person, and we're going, what? We're getting rid of this guy.
Pete Ferrero.
I'm feeling wonderful. Kathleen looks TV crush-worthy.
Like so many special guests. And all your questions. Live on the Beverly Hills 90210 show. Oh, yeah. Everybody dance now.
Well, here we are for the first episode of the Beverly Hills 90210 show for 2022. Larry, we made it to 2022.
It's always amazing.
Isn't it, man? Did you enjoy the holiday season?
It was, kind of quiet, I mean, didn't do it very much, but had my family around and had some good eats and tried to do some, just get out there. It was, we had a lot of rain in California, which of course was good for us because we need it, but it was, it kept everything indoors.
For sure, and we should have mentioned that Charles
I was
Rosen.
going to say it's the Charles Rosen 70th birthday celebration week, and I know he's having another party today with his grandkids and stuff, which he's looking forward to. I saw him yesterday, and we had our afternoon, but it's a big deal. I guess 70. He's such a young man. It's hard for me to really understand his excitement, but his declaring himself old.
I saw that too in a post today that he didn't know if he was going to make it and all that, and it's great to have him.
I mean, that was the thing. I mean, the show obviously stressed him because the minute he left the show, he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
But luckily he was at the hospital when he had it. He was on a treadmill having a heart test.
Oh my God!
No
I didn't know that.
Place to have a heart attack when you're actually being examined to see how your heart is.
Perfect timing. Yeah. I mean, listen, we love Charles here, so a very happy birthday to our buddy. He'll be back very soon as we continue rocking on the Beverly Hills 90210 show. All right, so we're in season 7. We're talking about a mate for life. I want to ask you before we bring on our guests and all that, what was this storyline you guys set up? Nat and Joan are going to have, they're going to get married, and they're also going to have a baby, right? And we're going to do it all in one episode. So tell me.
Well, we had started the thing off, I think in season 6, where, we kind of had this, we discovered that Joey Tata, who we all also wish health and happiness to for 2022. He's really
absolutely
healthy, and we love Joey. And but we discovered that Joey had a part in a Roger Corman film, and so it'd be kind of fun to kind of reveal that. We just, because we're always looking for ammunition. You're looking for all kinds of stories, big storylines, small storylines. You got a lot of characters you got to service in a show. Don't forget, television making is like a manufacturer. You're looking for all the different ingredients. And we had this thing, we discovered this thing, and then we started building a storyline about it, which was, why not give Nat an old flame and stuff. And we cast someone who was a friend of mine who I really loved, Julie Parrish, who's no longer with us. She was just, when you see her, she was one of Elvis's girlfriends in Paradise, Hawaii style, I think. She has some kissing with Elvis. I mean, she's very, she's legit.
Right.
But and then we just kind of took it to its conclusion. The end of episode 6, season 6, I think we have Nat asked her to marry him, maybe. And then we know what's going to happen. Or maybe she's pregnant. We discover she's pregnant.
She's pregnant, and then the marriage is come. It's going to happen.
And it was a little bit of a leap of faith. We did this. We did talk to fertility doctors and stuff.
Can this happen?
We felt we were it was possible. It wasn't totally an outlier. And we just kind of went with that. And of course, in the tradition of the show, where we had already done wedding and a funeral, so why not do a wedding and a birth?
Right.
And it's going to double time the show, so we don't have to have 2 episodes on it. We just can do it in one and really have some fun with it. And it just took off. It built around it, and it was the this is the 3rd episode of the season. It's an episode that one of the staff writers, John Welpley, wrote the draft on, first draft on, and it was directed by Burt Brinkerhoff, who had done a number of other episodes for us also. I just wanted to give those credits.
Sure. I mean, I want to ask you too, we've talked about this in the Patreon that we did. At the start of a season like season 7, you guys all get together and you start talking about things, and someone has to say, well, we have to do the Nat thing. We have to have the, what is that? What are those days like with those meetings of those
are really great because they're, that would usually occur, I want to say like a week before a Memorial Day, because we were pretty much going to get back in the office after Memorial Weekend. So we kind of sneak in a weekend meeting where we just would all kind of, lube up and smoke up and just throw out every idea we had that would be fun to do during the thing and would be good for the shows, and just kind of gather them in a whole, just a file, because we weren't that organized computer wise at that point, and just start building them and go over each character, what might be, where they're going to go, where do we want to see them at the end of the season. We start asking ourselves the tough questions. And then also, because, it's a business, that's basically sells soap. We had to see where we're going to go for the November sweeps, the February sweeps, and the May sweeps. Those are the money shots for us. So we wanted these storylines to kind of always peak in those 4 weeks of those months where advertising rates are set. That's our job. So that's part of the fun of it, because it gives you some parameters to create within. And this kind of just went, I was really, the first time I was really running it fully.
I was going to say, you're the executive producer here at this point.
This is the one where I'm really generating. So I'm throwing out ideas. I've already been working on it for weeks, just kind of gathering up my little bag of ideas. And so I had some stuff I thought was pretty cool. And, one of them, of course, as we started talking about the wedding, was what can we do? Like maybe Joni has a daughter and we could bring her in. And again, I'm always looking for, a little bit of a hotter angle. And, so Joni's daughter, Joni thinks she's, she thinks she's her little angel and she's a ballet dancer. And turns out she is a wonderful
erotic dancer, exotic dancer. Excuse me. Exotic
and I've got to put it with Brandon. We got to have, because Brandon's got no female in it. We need to have, kissing and stuff, which is important.
It's a soap opera. This stuff is very important. Yeah.
Again, well, I mean, the tenets of our show is emotion, passion, bonding, fun. So in the passion part, but every episode should have those 4 ingredients in it. Now make a good episode. That's what we always believe.
Yeah, let's bring in our friend Katherine Kendall and get her take on this. There she is. Hello. How are you?
Did you get to watch the episode, Katherine?
Did I watch the episode?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I did watch it.
I'm so glad. Yeah, you should have had a good couple of laughs on that. Oh, that's great.
It was amazing. It's so fun. It's fun. I'll go back and show people sometimes years later that, I had short hair then and I was on that, and they'll be like, oh. It's really fun. It's one of the most fun things to rewatch for other people too, because it's just so.
Yeah, I mean, well, you don't look that much different.
I mean, you look stunning today, so it's as well. Yes,
I'm taking my breath away here, but I mean, it's got to be 26-7 years ago. Yeah. We were so young.
How does this come up in your world? Tell me about what your life was like then, Katherine, when you were working as. I mean, this is the 90 what
97, I think 96 or 7.
What does 1997 look like for you, and how does this come about?
Okay, 1997. I remember that Swingers. I was in the movie Swingers.
That's why we cast you.
And Swingers, it had just come out. And then, or it was something like that. But no, there was
Swingers.
I remember that I did this job, and then I was at the Toronto Film Festival, and someone even recognized me from my profile, and they were like, 90210? And I was like, wait, I just did 1 episode. Like, how do you even know what? It was wild. It really kind of showed me the
power of that show, maybe.
The power. Yeah.
So did you have to audition?
I did have to audition, and it was a little scary because I had to dance in the audition.
That's
but
correct.
There was no choreography. I had to just do it. Come up with something. Come up with a little something. And I was like, oh, but what? But those are kind of wonderful acting moments because it's a sink or swim moment, and it's fun to see what you'll really do, and so
It happens in the room. It happens in the room. Sometimes, and you know what? When it happens in the room on the other side of the couch where we are, it's so exciting because you're relieved you found someone that's working. Because everyone knew that it was going to be perfect. And also you weren't too tall, which is very important.
Right.
And you didn't really look like any of the other characters because I was really big on that. It still drives me crazy when I see casts where two characters look alike. Just crazy.
Yeah.
Was that her? I just saw the one with Kate Blanchett and Toni Collette. I'm going, aren't they the same person? What's going on? But
So
Nightmare Alley, not very good. Okay.
And so, Larry, when you're sitting in the room, obviously this is a tough choice. You know her from Swingers, so this. This.
Yeah, she's got the right energy and confidence. There was a kind of a thing there that was kind of cool in it, an attitude that she brought to it. That we were hoping for, and I'm pretty sure they probably asked her, "Are you comfortable, like in some kind of a bikini kind of thing?" I'm sure we would have cleared that because that scene would have been written, where she kind of is totally unabashedly because she's an exotic dancer. She just takes off her clothes and she's in something which I want to give Molly, our wardrobe lady, a lot of shit for because it's kind of plain, I think.
I know. Thank you. It was,
really couldn't make it like a little flowery or something.
I know.
So we knew it wasn't like a gym outfit because today it just looks like a gym outfit.
It looks very much. It was like a jog bra.
Yeah, exactly.
But so
I have to tell you though, but I'm sure we did clear that because it was even then it was a sensitive thing.
But I was a dancer, and the nice thing is, I was used to taking dance class in leotards, and that was my life. So
right.
It wasn't a big stretch,
No.
It's scary, but it is still a nerve-wracking thing to suddenly be on a set. No matter how great a shape you think you might have been in or not been in, to be, in your underwear. But everyone
with the whole crew and lights and everybody.
I mean, top. Everyone, I have to say, I was so stunned at how nice everyone was because everyone was really famous at that point, and I didn't know any of these people. They were sort of untouchable, and Jason Priestley could not have been a more down-to-earth guy.
Is Jason in the casting meeting? Do you meet him there, or do you meet him on set? Or
no, I met him in my underwear dancing.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jason's working. I never got a thank you note from Jason ever. He's with he gets to spend the whole day with Katherine. He gets to, you had two kisses. You had two kisses because I looked at the kisses. I'm always very big on the kisses. You had two kisses. Mm-hmm. One kiss was excellent. It had a couple of parts in it. It moved around a bit. There was some motion.
The first one,
very good. Very good. That rated very highly. So, what was your experience with Jason? Did you work out the kiss first, or how? Burt Brinkerhoff is the director, as I remember.
Again, I don't think I've ever had anything go so smoothly. He was a consummate pro, and I felt incredibly comfortable, and he made it funny. I think that Jason knew how to bring humor into a situation that could have been extremely...
Anyway, I'm sorry. You're good to go. So it was a good experience, you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying, I think before the days of intimacy coordinators, we all just had to kind of figure it out.
West, I know.
And hope and pray that the director or the other actor had, good emotional EQ. Emotional intelligence is what I mean. Because to make someone feel comfortable, a guest star, to make them feel empowered, to make them feel safe, to relax the situation for everybody. I think sometimes even directors can get nervous for that kind of thing. But I thought most of it happened with Jason. I think Jason was so cool.
Which is cool because, he was, a producer of the show then. So I'm really glad to hear that. And but it was the Wild West then. There was just no doubt. We'd write stuff. And we expect people to do it. We were kind of we just trusted people. But sometimes we have a famous story of Gabrielle Carteris was on our show, and she would basically, if she had a guest star she had to kiss, she would tell them, what would she say to the people? You're going to be fired if you put your tongue down my mouth.
Something like
going
that.
to be fired.
Yeah.
Don't even think about putting your tongue in my mouth. I will get you fired.
Yeah, it was
she used
funny.
to give a warning. She would have a disclaimer quickly. But no, we really.
So, Catherine, you come into the show, and you said everyone was super sweet to you. Were you a fan of 90210? Were you aware of, I mean, or at least minimally aware of how large it was?
I was aware that everyone was incredibly famous, but I had been, and people always tease me about this, I hadn't watched the show that much because I had been in my college years in New York, and I was going to school and busy working and being in New York, and I wasn't really watching television.
Right.
And I remember my agents kept saying, "You have to start watching TV. You can't go audition for television
and not be aware of it." Yeah.
And I was like, well, okay, my whole life I was told, don't watch TV. Like, it was a different kind of time. It was like the discipline of, it was about going to the theater and in those New York days. But then I moved to LA and I started catching on,
It's a different world. Yeah. I totally understand that, New York is, legitimate actors and, they come to, swingers. That's what Swingers portrays so much in that movie.
Right.
Which was, so much fun to see. You got to work with a friend of mine, Julie Parrish. I want to know how that experience. She played your mother in that. And how was Julie?
Just lovely, gentle, kind, easy, everything. Wonderful. Again, made me feel, like welcomed into what could be a really intimidating situation.
I was going to ask you, though, there's some actors that come on our podcast and talk about their experience and say that it is intimidating when they first get to on 90210 because it's so huge and the actors are famous and all of this. Yeah. Did you have that moment of?
I definitely had that moment. And it was surprising. I didn't really realize that I would, but suddenly I'm in the trailer and I see Tori, and then just all of these
Jenny,
beautiful women just coming in that are like iconic, and I was like, oh God, they're all here. They're family. They've been together for years now, and I've got to really find that confidence. This character is confident. She can't afford to, lose that right now. And I remember Kathleen Robertson was incredibly cool to me, and Jenny Garth was too. I think some tag was sticking out of my shirt and she kind of helped me look better. And I was like, this is everyone's, they took care of me. I mean, they made it better.
I'm sorry, Luke was gone by that season because Luke would always be the first one to, especially a female guest star, to go over them and say to them, this has been collaborated by a number. He goes, so how are the bitches treating you? That was Luke, but Luke would always, like I say, he'd be the first one to eat with the person and really make them feel welcome. But he always would take their side.
Yeah, that's his opening line.
He knew it was a tough shop. He knew that people could be cold.
And we've heard that,
Tiffany Amber Thiessen was really lovely to me. I mean, I thought people were nicer than I thought they were going to be.
Totally.
That's the famous thing and all that,
And you come in and you're like,
it was early in the season.
They were just getting back to work.
They've been on vacation.
Well, no, but I wanted to say also that they put, you're paired with Nat, who is, so iconic to the world of Beverly Hills 90210. He's everybody adores this character and the person, Joey Tada. Larry mentioned he's ill and not well these days, and we always think about him here at the show, and just have nothing but lovely things to say. You did do some stuff with Joey. What was that like for you?
Another person that equalized everything and made you feel like you were in your living room. I think very real and accessible person.
Very cool. And so doing some of this, you're the exotic dancer and all this. Was that fun for you?
It was fun. I mean, I spent I did grow up as a ballet dancer, and I loved the fact that I could incorporate and use dance in some small way, but I also thought that it was important that this character was empowered and she felt like I felt fun being her. I felt like she was a free spirit, and she was a self I could be, in another life.
People, they should watch this episode and see Katherine put her leg up to her. She just puts her leg all the way up to her head. That's what that's what did it for us.
I'm so glad that's
this is
caught
going to
on
be great. What I
no
mean,
one would ever believe me.
it was great. Now you used a lot of the physicality really well to be flirty, which we needed from the character. Really delivered, and I only feel badly because at the end of the season I was shown the door. So if it hadn't have been, I'm sure I would have brought you back. Jason took my job. It's all fine. Life goes on, but it's unfortunate that character didn't come back because obviously Joni and Nat stayed married and they had the little baby and stuff, and it would have been easy to bring you back and screw up Brandon's life just when he's with another girl. And what we normally did was create a complication, because it was a wonderful character you created. I thought, and you know what? I found this episode had so much heart in it. Also, it led to a lot of great stuff in the we'll get into that later in the birth of the baby and all the stuff with Steve and Claire in the show. But I thought it was the fun of you and Brandon together, and also obviously Ian. You got to kind of be with Ian in the scenes too, which was good. I mean, he's always fun in there, and the guys improvise like crazy. At one point, this is a little bit I don't think Catherine's in the scene, but it's just after he's seen Katherine. It was after the morning, after the night they spent together. Ian just throws out a line which is totally his, which is and he says Brandon's like denying anything happened. He says, and Ian goes, "That's funny. I think I saw you limping." Implying it was kind of a wild acrobatic night, but I thought that was kind of fun. They always try to get stuff by the censors, and that just it was fine.
Katherine, everybody's talking about these days the 90s and what that was like and whatnot, and I'm always curious about what that universe was like to work in that time period.
My experience of working in the 90s was amazing. Are you referring to sexual harassment?
No, I mean, I was going to let you lead the charge on this. I know this is really important to you.
It is important to me. I mean, I don't know if you know, but I was one of the women that came forward about Harvey Weinstein in the New York Times, and that was an unfortunate experience that happened to me. It was not on a set, and it was what I thought was at a meeting. It was a very legitimate meeting. So,
is this before or after your experience of 902?
90210 was after.
Okay.
The Harvey thing happened to me when I was very young. I was in my early 20s, and he wasn't even the person that, I mean, he was still a big deal, but I don't think he hadn't done Shakespeare in Love yet, but Miramax was still like the new shiny golden office in town, and I had gone and had a meeting there, and it went really badly. It went really well, and then it went really badly. And but I just want to say, like, on sets with the men that I worked with, Jon Favreau,
love John,
Jason Priestley, all those people. I mean, I've never worked with such nice people, gentlemen.
They're professionals.
Threatened. I never felt crew was being weird. In 90210, I'm in my underwear. I never felt anyone was going like snickering or making me feel bad. And I know those things happen.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I was in the business since the early 80s. I mean, I saw it. I saw stuff which was always just would be a big turnoff. I'm curious now. As someone, I was an actor myself, and I appeared naked on stage, all over Canada. So I was just curious: did you ever appear in any part of nudity on stage or screen?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I mean, it was just part of it then. I mean,
major. It was part of it.
But when you walk in, I mean, after that horrific experience that you had, and you're walking onto sets, are you still able at that time to? Are you able to say, like, well, that was a really bad experience? You know what I mean? And then walk into a set, or do you have your guard up going on to sets? So not only is it just intimidating, you're on this huge show, but also you've had this experience where it was a really bad experience. Are you able to walk into a place being like, I just don't want that, or are you kind of like what your guard up? I don't want that to happen again. Like, what is it like for you after something like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. My feeling was that if I was on a set, I'm safe because there are other people around.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the being alone. It's the being sequestered, that's so terrifying.
Run lines in my trailer.
All that.
Yeah, like I never actually even thought that would happen with Harvey, because I almost thought, well, he's just too famous to risk doing anything like that,
They
right?
thought
like
they were bulletproof then. They thought
right.
it was bulletproof.
But I do think that there is, or it is possible that I was also shut down and kind of brainwashed in a way, like everyone else, to be like tough, so that if anyone did ever tease me on a set or whatever, that I might have just been like, well, this is how I deal with that. I'm a woman who grew up in the 80s and I'm working in the 90s, and that's what happens. And you got to be strong. And
Yeah,
I think a lot of
right.
us felt that way, and didn't even realize that we were using that protective mechanism.
For sure. How are you doing today with all of this?
Thank you for asking. I'm doing really well. I feel like I know that it's really been hard for so many people, and we were really trying to move the dial all around the world, right? And we didn't know that was going to happen. Talking about Harvey Weinstein, we didn't know that the whole world was going to say, "Hey, it's me too." But it's hard to change it.
We were, I think thinking about it now, in 1994, as a group, all the producer writers on the staff had to spend a day in a sexual harassment seminar. And I'm thinking like, but what about the actors? Like, they have to do that too.
Right. It should be required.
So I always found that interesting.
Well, I want to say though,
we actually had someone fired over it on the show when I was there. Fairly prominent person I'm not going to mention. Yeah.
Are you talking about a writer? We're not live.
No,
are you talking
it's an executive?
An executive that was working on 90210 got fired over?
Yeah, the casting executive.
That
was the whole thing, with
that happened there.
Someone who won't come on the show.
But Katherine, I want to say that despite what you went through, the work is incredible on this episode of 90210, and the work that you've been doing, since this fun episode of a TV show. So, do you use any of your experiences in the characters?
Yeah, more and more. I think now that I'm older and I have integrated and been in therapy and processed some things and really let go of that sort of shame, and but also realizing that it's something that happened and it's real and it happened to so many people, and so I'm not embarrassed to have that part of myself expressed. I mean, there are times where I might feel embarrassed. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing, but I'm also more and more okay.
That's good.
That's great.
Yeah. And so just looking back on your 90210, so talking to you, you just mentioned before that you were doing something else, then someone recognized you from 90210. Has that happened to you through the years where somebody was like, oh my God, you're the Nat's or Joan's daughter?
It's so funny. It's happened. And it gets big response. It's sort of shocking, only because you know how it is. You do a show, you go and you work for a week or something as a guest star, and then you leave.
Right.
And then you don't really understand that it's out in the ethers for everyone to see.
And you don't watch much TV, so you really don't know.
Right. More now I do, but yeah.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
You don't really get like the reach, or somebody.
I think if you went to Israel or Italy, you would be immediately recognized, because those were our big fan
even
bases.
with my hair long, because I always thought I was like a short hair actor and a long hair actor.
Oh.
You know, like there's the short hair me, and that was maybe a little bit, but maybe, I mean,
Well, it's
I like the story. I particularly like when we catch Nat and Steve. We set up the fact that Nat and Steve are going to go to the strip club for his bachelor party, and of course, she's going there because she wants to see a friend there, and it's just she gets busted basically. So
I
it was
love
really
that.
fun, and the other girl was wonderful too. I don't remember her name at all, but that moment just really worked. It seemed very genuine.
yeah,
And sometimes it's hard to pull off that stuff. It can seem very stagey.
yeah,
Yeah.
There you are. Oh my God.
There was a lot of fun. There was a lot of there was a spirit to this character, and I loved that.
Yeah.
You know, I felt like she was dancing, she was moving, she was sort of like,
Oh yeah, when you were walking, when we shoot you from behind, you had some wonderful motion going on.
yeah, and that was the director too. But it was fun to like play that. Like
I'm glad you said that. I've always been tough on Burt Brinkerhoff, but I actually thought that there was a directed episode.
Was the director good, Bert? Do you remember any of him and his direction on this? Oh, God.
No, I mean, for me, again, sometimes Paul Wagner, who was our main producer, had so much to do with the success of the show. But he chose the directors, and a lot of times he chose them because they were going to get the work done. He probably looked at this and said, it's early down. The kids aren't going to work that hard. I got a lot of different setups going here. I need a guy who's just going to give me shoot the pages, not give me any shit. I get Burt Brinkerhoff. It wasn't like, we had Dan Attias or some of the other guys,
sure.
Jack Bender, some, people who really brought a little bit more art. But I thought this was really good, and the whole episode. So.
Do you think that TV directors in general just kind of have to be fast?
I had been out of the business since 2007, so I can only talk about that. But yes, then they did, because certainly on the shows I was connected with, because I believed in getting shows in budget. I didn't like going over it. It just offended me. So that was the job. We're supposed to send it in. This is the box. We're putting it in the box. We're going to send it out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, absolutely. You got to be able to, move a crew, because you're shooting 6 to 8 pages a day. And in film, you're doing like a page and a half or 2-3 pages. So it's a different thing. And this episode was not what we call a double up. Sometimes, probably in a couple of episodes after this, we were shooting 2 at once, which was really complicated. Then you really need great directors, because we'd be shuffling cast back and forth between locations, and it was a real logistical nightmare. We had what was called a scheduling czar to kind of put it together. But no, I'm sure Burt did a very good job. I'm very happy for him. So
yeah,
we should maybe have him on sometime.
For sure, it would be great.
Give him some love.
Well, Katherine, thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with us. The work is incredible. Yeah, it's been awesome to hang out with you and see you. So
don't be a stranger. Right? Don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
We might call you to do something else down the line. We have our special shows. We do shout outs to fans and stuff.
I love it. I love it. It was an honor. It was a really fun time in my life. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. All right. It was great having Katherine with us. I'm going to hit a shirt ad, and then we'll come back and we'll cover all of these other things. This is an old ad that we used to run.
Well. When was the last time you checked out the Beverly Hills 90210 show shop? Because now it's loaded with so much more stuff. Did you ever want to join the gang at CU? Because now you can wear your official CU t-shirt. Or want to get into the fun with America's zip code? Represent with this cool swag. Or maybe you have an invite to the Peach Pit after dark and need the coolest shirt ever. We have loaded the store with so much more. So don't be a squeeze. Head over to Beverly Hills 90210showshop.com for all the latest goods.
All right, let's talk about a couple of other things. Kenny Bannerman is another big thing that's happening in this episode.
Yeah, it was an idea of mine. I just kind of, again, looking for storylines for characters, we hadn't really done the older man and thing, and it just seemed like a natural. We could really give it some roots in the Jim Walsh firm. It's a young accountant that he knew that he recommends to Valerie, and the guy we cast, again, just immediately when he walked in the room, he was going to be the right guy. His name was Joey Gian, Gian, joeygian.com. Go there and check it out. He's like, close your eyes, you think he's Sinatra. He's got like a lounge act or whatever. He was in the Miami area. He hasn't come on the show, unfortunately, but he was going to work for us as just a smooth, interesting operator, someone Valerie in her mind can use, because she, she has a lot of problems, and that's kind of how she looks at life. I mean, as a a broken person, she just tries to get ahead by using people. And of course, Kenny's got other ideas, and he's a married man, so we're going to basically go into something that probably everyone on our staff was since we were all, men for the most part are immature for a very long time.
You said on the
For a very
Patreon,
long time.
you said on the Patreon, every guy has a little Kenny Bannerman.
Everyone's been Kenny Bannerman at one point. We've all told these stories that we're getting divorced, whatever. So we were able to use all these life experiences, which we survived, and from our immaturity and matured from it, and then put it in Kenny, and the storyline plays very real, I thought, and it gave Tiffany a chance to really shine and have some good stuff outside the kids, because again, we were going to be doing double ups. We knew, so we need to separate people so we can actually schedule it. But Kenny Bannerman came in, and right away he thinks he's using her, but she's really using him. It's like a great relationship, and we could just kind of throw the stuff down there and kind of move some plot along with her. And Tiffany looks phenomenal right in that season 7. She's just really blossoming, and that was a good plot line for us. And it starts here. Actually, it doesn't start here. This is like one where we're actually seeing again, Kenny buys her a bracelet,
tennis bracelet,
a tennis bracelet, which we set up. And then at the beach club, we meet his wife, who's also lovely. I don't know what Kenny's thinking. She's gorgeous. Yes. And she notices the bracelet. We get to really twist Kenny in the wind. He doesn't know what's going to happen. Is she going to bust him? And you just know that he made a terrible mistake going down the road with Valerie. It's just not going to end well for him.
Well,
as a
the
guy,
wife,
you just know, oh my God, he's unpredictable.
And the wife points out the tennis bracelet at the beach club, right? Now, you brought up a very interesting point I want you to bring up here on the Patreon. You said on the Patreon, but here, that you don't like when beach clubs have lots of people at them over the weekend. You're not a big fan.
Beach club is supposed to be exclusive. Why does it look like a public beach? I don't understand. Second ADs love to fill the frame up for the director, and they're people are walking by and doing it, and like throwing frisbees. Like, come on, it's like stop it.
Beach club.
I was always in the 80s. I produced Gidget and stuff, so I was always at the beach. And I made it a point that the beach always, just a couple of people there. It was a great beach. It's like a beach you want to go to, not a crowded beach. Like, I just didn't understand it. But it was hard to control it. Once they were out in the set, unless I was like bringing it down, I didn't, I wasn't going to come down that heavy. It was episode 3 of my reign. Right. So I let it go. But that was the style then. Paul liked it too. I'm sure he liked having lots of, he when he went over the budget, he said, oh yeah, we're going to have 100 extras that day,
On the note about taking over, and I want to tell everybody though, joeygion.com, we said I think it's GION. Go to that GIAN, joeygion.com, and hit him up and tell him he's got to do the Beverly Hills 90210 show. Yeah. We need our audience to let him know that this is a real thing. We really want him to come on and talk about it. Tell him you love him and you love Kenny Bannerman, and hopefully maybe that will help. It's helped before sometimes. Yeah. But I wanted to go back to what you're talking about, taking over. You had obviously worked for Chuck, right? So you knew what that responsibility was and how big of a deal that was. What was your approach to taking the realms or the helm of this thing? Well,
and my style is always be prepared, really, work hard at the beginning, get everything organized. And so I think going into that season, like I had, everything, we had our meetings early in the season before Memorial Day, and really attacked the script writing. So we'd be ahead. That's always been my style. Don't be late. It's a theater style. You show up, it's on time. And of course this episode is interesting because we have other characters introduced here. We have the character of Mark Reese, played by Dalton James. And as I was saying, like, we had all these, once we got our bag of stories and quickly approved, we already were going at it. I had everyone was writing. We were going to be ahead of the thing because we knew we were going to double ups. And then, of course, by a couple episodes in, we found out that we had to get rid of Dalton James, so that kind of screwed everything up. We've talked about that.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I wish
you never
Dalton
know.
another one. Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Did we start any other characters in this one? We start Dalton James. Oh, and then we have the Kelly Taylor storyline where she's volunteering in a
well, there's a couple of other storylines here that I want to ask you about. There is Michael Stoyanov, who we're trying to get to come on the podcast. We're hoping that happens. We're still talking.
He plays Jimmy Gold, a really cool character, amateur magician who's dying of AIDS.
And so there's the AIDS storyline, but you were telling me that you guys knew him from Blossom. He gets an offer, and I think he just rocks this storyline. And we were talking, that Aaron Spelling had done an AIDS movie, right? And
he had done called "And the Band Played On." It was a Emmy-winning drama, like a special. It was phenomenal. So it was an easy pitch to Aaron to do this storyline. Plus, it gave Kelly Taylor something like a movie of the week quality kind of storyline, something serious with a lot of heart. And this episode, that was in rewatching this one, which I honestly had not seen since 1997. I was totally shocked at some of it, but also very, very moved how there was a lot of emotion toward the end. And I was saying, wow, this is an effective episode, so much better than I ever thought. And a lot of it has to do with Jenny's storyline. Obviously we have the birth of the baby, and Steve and Claire also giving a lot of heart in there. Some, wonderful performances by Kathleen Robertson in this one. Jesus. So, it was, very happy experience.
And you're going to make Michael's character, Jimmy, a magician.
Yeah, we're trying to give him an endearing quality, and again, Michael does such a wonderful job having this kind of dark sense of humor. Welcome to the Death House, stuff like that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Which we kind of set up, and he was able to pull it off, and you can see that then slowly drawing her into a friendship, by having her talk, just telling him about her life, and we get a chance to get some of her feelings out in a kind of interesting way, because you learn about characters, about what they say about themselves and what they say about others. So it was a plot line that maybe is overlooked, because at the time I remember people thinking, why are you doing such a downer plot? But looking at it now, it really gave some class. It followed the whole style Chuck had set in of having some social issues that were important at the time, and that nothing was more important than acceptance of that. And I'm pretty certain in Friendship House, those people in there were also had HIV, at least. They were actors. They were SAG actors who were HIV positive.
And it was important for you to cast people, because you can tell that that would be important to the storyline, to have actual people who were afflicted with this.
I'm sure we tied in some promotion with some of the people who did stuff like this and PSAs and stuff. I'm sure there were PSAs, and I can't quite remember.
Probably
a little bit of a blur. But it was a brave choice, and we did the mix of storylines in this one here. Emotion was there, passion was there, bonding was there, and fun was there. Where was the fun in this episode? Fun was
it's the birth of the baby, right? It's
the craziness of where you're going to have a wedding, and that's kind of played like pretty good. I mean, I thought the things there are good. The stuff I really liked though was. There was a scene with Claire and Steve where you just got to let love lead you.
She's talking about her mother, and you set up, because you guys are going to set up this thing.
She doesn't want to get involved. Yeah, with her mother's died and left her. So yeah, I mean, we got to go deep dive into her psyche there, and Steve is there for her with some decent words, and she comes to a conclusion that you just got to let love lead you, which is kind of so sweet, and it was well done. Also, I thought the score of this episode, done by Dan Folliard, who did all the Roseannes originally, but after this, but I thought it was wonderful. I really thought he caught a lot of the good stuff in it.
And I think, I'll say Kathleen, like you said, she's really phenomenal in this episode. You pointed out that she had her hair crimped. I asked her about her hair crimp, and she said she was really bored and she just crimped her hair.
Well, so this is so typical. So Kathleen crimped her hair, and then what does Tori do?
Crimps her hair.
This is like one would want to read. They all, Molly tells the story all the time. They always want each other. Once one picked a wardrobe out, the other one wanted it,
Right.
which is just part of the being in a in a community and in a job. You see people every day. That's part of the fun of it. That's the love.
And so, talking about Joey Todd's performance here, I mean, this is some really great stuff for him. This is probably outside of the episode where he has the heart attack and the previous seasons. This is one of those really strong performances from him. It's a character that we all loved and watched and wanted to see have a moment. And he delivers a really beautiful speech that the kids are were his guardian angels.
I know. I love it. He steps up on the chair there. He's in his scrub. Yeah, I thought Joey really rose to the occasion this, and we threw him a lot. And I just thought he really brought it with a lot of honesty. And, the whole thing, he doesn't overplay when he uncovers that his future wife's daughter is not a ballet dancer, but an exotic dancer. He totally, he kind of going like, really? His expressions there are really, really real, very authentic. And that's just, he's really, really good in this thing. We also get, more than one line from Willie. Willie gets a standout performance. He eats some wedding cake also, and looks good in a white jacket. When Molly comes on, we do have to talk a little about the wardrobe. Is Molly around there or no?
No, she's not here yet.
Okay.
That's the last bit that I wanted to do.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But I thought, I mean, Joey, probably since in the 60s storyline, he gets to play two characters. He gets to play his father, Sal.
Yes.
And he's terrific in that. But this one here, I thought, there's so much to do. He's got to, be at the wedding. And it must have been a lot of fun for him because he's terrific in it. And it was brave of us again and maybe I caught some shit for giving so much to him. People going, what are you doing? What are you not, but looking at it now, it just works so well into the thing. And you can't just have a character in the background for 7 years and do nothing with them. It's just demeaning, really. And
this gave him something.
Gave him something. It gave him a life outside the thing. He had other people besides the kids, which would always bother.
Yeah, it was kind of always one note when Nat would only have the restaurant. That was his life. You know what I mean? Was the Peach Pit, and it served the kids, and it's great. But what's great is now he has a life outside of. We even have this scene where Nat works at the restaurant so much that he comes to work on his wedding day, right?
I was just thinking that was really fun. It's just I thought it really worked. And again, Burt Brinckerhoff did a nice job, tying all those things together. The other storyline I totally had forgotten about was, we're setting up, the Brian Austin, the David and Donna stuff, and they're coming off a little bit of a fracture. And I thought that thing, it plays a little bit, how his melancholy is going to, go into depression because he doesn't have a job anymore. But I thought there was something toward the end of that episode where Donna says to him, they're not going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, but she says, I'm not your enemy. And that really, I thought, really kind of put things on hold and let us get to the end of this. Would let us get to the end of the season.
Well, we're going to do a deep dive, me and you together at some point, talking about what you do at that end of the season with Donna and David. So we'll
Donna loses it.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that. Now, when we were on Patreon, I don't know if you want to talk about this, but you said the magician storyline caused ruckus, right? Did you say this, that when that was the beginning of chaos, was something had happened? Do you want to talk about it?
No, I'd have to look when it was filmed, but I think at that point it was not well received. I'm trying to think. We have to look and see who directed that. I think it was called Disappearing Act.
Yes,
the episode. But we have the whole gang coming to this thing, and this was the beginning of contract negotiations. Who was going to get picked up for next year? Who wasn't?
You're on that list.
Actors,
the
and
actors,
also on actors,
and the executive producer.
Again, I'm just working like I got 32 episodes to go. I'm going to make it through here. Everyone's going to be fine. He's falling apart. He's having a heart attack. I'm going to make it through here. It's all going to, again, I had all my moving pieces were breaking down at that point. And probably at that point, the word was in that, we just got to get through this. Because Jason's going to take over the show. We'll go in a different direction because he doesn't want to come back unless, everyone was tired of it. They had done, over 200 episodes. and it was hard to say what the show should be. Again, no one had the value of of looking back and realizing what was really good about the show.
Sure.
But at that point, they wanted something different. And the premise of the show was not so clear then, which I always say is ordinary kids living extraordinary lives. And obviously, after college, it was the exact opposite, which is why it's so flat. It was extraordinary kids living ordinary lives, like working for a local paper and like being a shop girl, like instead of like having great jobs, which would have been what I would have done.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning, I guess, of the move against me. So I remember there was being bad feelings about this magic show. But I couldn't pay attention because there was too much work to be done. I had Phil Sabbath with me, thank God. And he was functioning, and we just would just hold up and write it. And looking at the 7th season now, it's pretty fucking good.
It's really good.
This Made for Life, I haven't had no memory of, and I said, wow, that really had a lot of good stuff. Again, it wasn't the sexiest, but it had the great, Brandon and Lilly plot, the exotic dancer, and that was really very satisfying, and it kind of won her, kind of completed itself, I thought. And yes, I mean, they're just, again, you could feel the Dalton, and the Mark Reese, where it is in his place in the hills, it looked promising, but even that, it's a foggy day. Something going like, it's kind of bad luck. It's a foggy day, a sense of gloom, amid the.
But at this point, there's no sense of you even thinking like, oh, this is not, this. Everyone's looking. You're looking at the dailies.
You think you're invulnerable because who could do this job?
Right.
Like,
well, I mean, even with the dailies of Mark Reese, when you're looking at that in the early part of it, you're like, he's fine, he's great, he's working out. You said that you wanted to build him to be this Ronald Reagan character, right?
Orange County money beyond Beverly Hills, and this snobby elitist. And I thought he was delivering on that. Yeah. What we didn't realize that there just wasn't chemistry with a lot of the cast.
You're right. Yeah. And then once that breeds.
And again, everyone then was scared, I think, because like, what are they going to do if the show? We didn't even know if the show was going to end then. Don't forget either. It could have ended in college at the end of college.
Sure.
But, but
in some ways it may have should have.
We still were getting ready. So we kind of sensed it probably wasn't going to be. But certainly people were worried whether their character was going to be bringing back unless they were one of the top 3 or 4. On the call list, but
meanwhile you have like Jason who could come back anytime he wants, but is thinking about leaving.
He's thinking more. I'm directing. I directed a lot now. Now I want to produce the show.
Yeah, it makes sense though. It's the right trajectory,
which is a really lot of work. I think and
sure.
Then they brought in. Well, anyway, we'll get into that some other time.
All right. Well, this is great, man. Made for Life. You look back on it. There was a lot to cover here. Did you like seeing this back? I mean, I thought this was surprisingly great.
I really did. At first, I wasn't liking it. I went, "Oh, this the David and Donna thing seemed kind of stale to me." And but then seeing that Lilly character and realizing how it was all working out and having the fun of the wedding, and it's just and again when she gets busted when they show up at the strip club, at the very classy strip club. I just thought that was really well done. Really liked what was going on there.
Also, I do love she gets pregnant during the wedding, and then she won't have the baby until
until I'm married. Yeah, they stopped the ceremony, which is cool.
At the hospital, in
the hall. It's a hallway delivery. Yeah, I thought there was some original stuff in there we had done, and again, it led to giving Joey really a good part, and everyone's happy for that. And and it sets up a bunch of stuff, and we have to see Valerie as a total bitch to Kelly, kind of pointing out the Lilly and Brandon connection.
Oh, right. We got this. That's always good. Yeah.
Again, we're setting up the seeds for basically sweeps coming up. We know November is sweeps, so this episode would have aired probably late September. So probably about a month away from sweeps.
Really good stuff. And we'll be back doing more episodes of the Beverly Hills 90210 show very soon. So stay with us here and keep us in your thoughts when we're doing this, and also keep Joey Tada in your thoughts too. I know he's going through a battle, and his family is very upset about all that's happening to him. He's a legend to the show, a terrific actor, and someone that we all love and adore here. So, and I know you knew him on a personal level.
Oh yeah, I love Joey, and also it's really good. It's really helpful that people keep streaming the show.
Right. Yeah.
On all the different platforms, we got it now. Hulu,
Pluto, Hulu,
TV, Paramount Plus. it helps us when you stream the show.
Keep watching the show. It's fantastic.
It keeps us happy.
All right. Very cool. This has been great. We will see you all